Always coming with gifts.
They love coming. I didn't say they loved us. I said
Yeah,
they loved
cheaters.
coming.
I need the cheaters, sir.
It's a big night out there. Could be.
Oh, God.
Good evening. Time being 7 o'clock, I call the June 21st, 2023 meeting of the Franklin Town Council to order. Please pause for a moment of silence. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Announcements from the chair. All citizens are now welcome to attend public board and committee meetings in person. Meetings are live streamed by Franklin TV and shown on Comcast Channel 11 and Verizon Channel 29. In an effort to maximize citizen engagement opportunities, citizens will be able to continue to participate remotely via phone, or you may click the Zoom link that is on the posted agenda and on the town's website. The phone number is 929-205-6099, and the meeting ID number is 863-5063-5102. And then you need to hit the pound sign. And once again, the meeting ID is 863-5063-5102 pound. If residents are just interested in watching, the meeting will also be live streamed by Franklin TV. Citizens' comments. Citizens are welcome to express their views for up to 3 minutes on a matter that is not on the agenda. The council will not engage in a dialogue or comment on a matter raised during citizens' comments. The town council will give remarks appropriate consideration and may ask the town administrator to review the matter. Is there anyone in council chambers who would like to speak on an item not on tonight's agenda? Okay, seeing none, is there anyone out there in Zoom land that would like to speak on an item not on tonight's agenda? Not seeing any one of you, Jamie?
Nope.
Okay, moving on. Approval of minutes. I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes from May 24th, 2023.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion, additions, deletions. Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Proclamations and recognitions, we have none this evening. Appointments. Community Preservation Committee. Clerk will read the appointment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. These are appointments to the Community Preservation Committee. Citizens at Large, Michael Giordino of 18 Sherman Ave, term expiration June 30th, 2025. Lisa Oxford of 18 Lincoln Street, expires June 30th, 2025. Conservation Commission Representative Jeffrey Livingston of 68 Daniel Street, June 30th, 2024. Historical Commission Representative Phyllis Malcolm, 37 Uncas Ave, June 30th, 2024. Housing Authority Representative Chris Feely of 5 Taft Drive, June 30th, 2024. Planning Board Representative Jay Mello, of 5 North Park Street, June 30th, 2024. Recreation Board Representative, Wayne Samarian, 204 Jordan Road, June 30th, 2024. Motion to ratify the appointments of the names listed above by the town administrator to serve as members of the Community Preservation Committee with terms to expire as listed above.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Jamie?
Excuse me, through you, Mr. Chairman, through you to the council. So these are all reappointments of members who have served already, with the exception of the planning board recommendation, which is Jay Mello, which used to be Rick Power, but Rick, I believe, is on the master plan committee. So I know the planning board kind of split them up among the Davis Thayer and the other committees. Just to remind the public, the appointment recommendations that are coming from the various boards are their recommendations from those boards. The at-large are just renewals of the 2 terms for Mike and Lisa. Thanks.
Thanks, Jamie. Questions or comments from the council? Councilor Frangillo.
Just quickly, just because it came up and we have an opportunity because it's on the agenda, there was I want to say it was a Globe article, but a Massachusetts article about how towns across the state were underspending CPA funds on housing, and I think we're as guilty as the rest. So it's hard. I mean, there's a bunch of competing projects, but if we can make sure that housing stays as one of the 4 priorities, that would be good. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Councilor Frangillo. Any other questions on the appointments? Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public hearings, we have none scheduled. No license transactions, presentations, and discussions. We have none this evening. We'll go right to legislation for action. First legislation is bylaw amendment 23-900, Chapter 170, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 4, Stopping and Standing and Parking, subsection 170-15, Parking Prohibitions and Limitations. D, Parking Prohibited, Downtown Parking Map Amendment. First reading, clerk will read the bylaw amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is bylaw amendment 23-19, Chapter 170, Vehicles and Traffic. A bylaw to amend the Code of Town of Franklin, Chapter 170, Vehicles and Traffic, at Article 4, Stopping and Standing and Parking, subsection 170-15, Parking Prohibitions, Limitations, D, Parking Prohibited. Be it enacted by the Franklin Town Council that Chapter 170 of the Code of Town of Franklin, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 4, Stopping and Standing and Parking, subsection 170-15, Parking Prohibitions and Limitations, D, Parking Prohibited, is hereby amended as follows. Subsection 170-15, Parking Prohibitions and Limitations. The revision is in regards to D, parking that's prohibited. Downtown Parking District boundaries are those contained on map captioned Downtown Parking District and prepared by Town of Franklin Engineering Department, dated July 13th, 2016, and revised through the effective date of this legislation. That's the change. The original of which is on file with the town clerk, and a copy of which is appended hereto as attachment number 1. Prohibitions and limitations on streets contained within the district are shown on said map. This bylaw amendment shall become effective on and after August 2nd, 2023. The map currently on file with the town clerk, as most recently revised, shall remain the effective until August 2nd, 2023. And there's the map.
Move bylaw amendment 23-900 to a second reading.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Jamie?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'll go through this. I think the memo in the packet, hopefully everybody's had a few minutes to look at it. So the impetus for this was mainly because the parking map needed to change. We had it as an hour of 6 a.m. is when the parking began. But the train, the MBTA bumped up they actually have now 2 trains leaving before 6 a.m. And one of them is at 5:08 a.m.
Nice.
And so at a minimum, the bylaw needed to be addressed so that nobody gets a ticket between 5 a.m. and 6, right? So that is one of the reasons why this is before you tonight. As a second way, while we're going through the bylaw process to try to streamline things, we also wanted to try to do a couple of additional cleanups. One, with the time going up to 5 a.m., the former curfew was 2 a.m., which is a very, very narrow window for the police if they're on a call to be able to enforce the downtown parking overnight bans. So I understand and fully respect that the council altered this earlier last year from to 2 a.m. But the staff and working with the police with the additional officers really believe that if the council is willing to move it back to midnight, the midnight shift still from an operational perspective works much better for the police because as you just heard at the budget hearings, the shift starts at 1 a.m. So at the end of the shift from midnight to 1 a.m., if the bylaws change to midnight, then at least as those officers go off shift, they can sweep through the lots, which really should do most of the enforcement, right? Because I don't think people are going to go park at 3:30 a.m. Maybe, but
Councilor DeLarco.
right, touche. He's up at
4 o'clock, 4 a.m. maybe.
good point. Well, we still don't want Bobby to get a ticket. So we're proposing to make that window 12 to 5, which will allow both the ending of the shift at midnight to 1 to go through sweep to the lots, but also to make sure that if there are calls on the shift where there are fewer officers on the overnight, before the shift starts at 5, while the shift starts at 1, at least at 5 a.m., that shift can go through, sweep through the lots just in case. But I don't really truly expect that to be a big problem. But I do think from an operational perspective, as the chief pointed out earlier, the midnight really does make a lot more sense. We can always go back, as we go through our marketing and branding and we identify who we are as a community. Maybe we do identify, as a later night community, I don't know, but we can always go back and change that. If the council doesn't want to do that and wants to leave it at 2 a.m., obviously we fully respect that, and the 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. can stay. The other third cleanup we wanted to do real fast was on the Davis Thayer lot. There's really no big policy decision here. The basic premise of it is there needs to be some sort of daytime enforcement. There has to be something. Otherwise, you're just going to have people park in all 51 of those spaces all day. So in working with the staff, the main usages are for overflow for the library, maybe during the day. Also, obviously, the Little Leagues and a lot of the families use that lot to play sports on the weekend. So it's a very, very minor change where it's 2-hour parking on Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. So that prohibits commuters or others that just want to park their car in there. And yes, that also may include Dean College students. It may include a plethora of people. It has not become a problem. But we did over the last year, since the town did receive it from the school department, over the course of the year, there was maybe 1 car parked in there. And then all of a sudden it turned into 3 or 4. Then it was 5 or 6. And so just this proposal before you tonight from 8 to 4 will at least protect the daytime parking from people just plunking their cars in there. The overnight rules will stay the same on Davis Thayer. It'll be free after 4 o'clock for all the kids and families if they want to go play ball in Little League. It'll certainly still help the customers of the library director for a couple hours if they do need overflow parking. So it still should suffice. It'll be free on the weekends, of course, as well. There is no overnight parking in the Davis Thayer lot, so that takes care of overnights. But at least the families and Franklin can use that lot for free all weekend during the Little League games and certainly at night during the weekdays. So I know these are substantial changes, maybe for some, but ultimately this is really a proposal to do some house cleaning and to try to do these things while we had to change the bylaw anyways to accommodate for the 5 a.m., 5:08 train for those folks. They're already up early enough. And the chief has already promised that they will not ticket anybody for the month of July if they've paid their $3 for the day and they're there at 5:08. We are not going to ticket them as long as the council can move this bylaw through tonight and in July. The second reading would be in July. So this would go into effect basically August 1st, August 2nd.
Okay, nice.
That's it.
Thank you, Jamie. Questions and comments from the council? Councilor Cormier Ledger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jamie, I seem to remember a year ago when we revised the downtown parking piece, the moving it from midnight to 2, that had a lot to do with some of the downtown businesses and some of their staff getting out past midnight and needing that extra, like if the customers were, because of their hours of operation, they just needed that extra time. But
I agree.
I mean, it was a pretty lengthy conversation that we all had to get to the 2 o'clock, so I appreciate what you're saying. I'm just trying to understand why we're back here again.
Through Mr. Chair, we're back here again, I guess, not to be defiant, but to be honest, no one's in downtown Franklin past midnight. And I don't think, and I've not heard one issue from a business that their employees or any patrons, as far as I know, the latest game in downtown might be the Black Box if there's a concert, or possibly the Rome at 9:30, 9:45 is when they close.
Teddy's.
What about Teddy Gallagher's?
Last time I checked at Teddy Gallagher's, it was closed by 10. I mean, I don't think they stay open to 11 or 12 on,
Most places
nights.
don't.
most places are closed by 10.
Yeah, they just don't have the staff.
And I'm just saying this, why are we back here? I mean, it really is, if we want to enforce that 3-hour window, from a police perspective, it's pretty tough. You could end up going most nights without any enforcement of that lot, because there's probably going to be a call on 495. There's probably going to be a call somewhere else. As we heard from the chief during the budget debate, they're down one person on the overnight shift relative to the other shifts as well. I will admit fully, and just to be transparent, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like myself, like this is the biggest deal in the world, right? I just think it's a modest step forward. It helps the police be able to do the patrol as the community gets acclimated to this. And I think hearing from the businesses in the first year of all of the issues with the new parking bylaw would be advantageous than thinking that we're creating a culture that people are going to stay open till 2 a.m. I don't think there's any customers to go out that late. I mean, maybe I'm mistaken. Councilor Frangillo may be out.
I thought you were looking at me.
With his youthful spirit. I can tell you, I am not going out. I was at a wedding on Sunday. And I realized we crossed over because I was drinking coffee at 9:15. Like, I was like, I'm struggling to understand where this business market is at 1 a.m. in downtown Franklin. I don't see it. So I'd rather, if the council's willing to be able to try to take that big step forward with all this, but then see how that works out for a year. And if we need to go to 2 a.m. because there's a bustling night scene going on, I'm all for it. I really am. If there was a late night scene going on, I really would. I'd be all for the 2 a.m. bylaw. I really would. But I don't think there's a business argument to be made.
The other piece of this as well is the only places that are there after 10 o'clock or 10:30 might be Teddy's and the Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
Hang Tide. But remember, they've got to serve food, and their kitchens are shutting down at 10 or 10:30.
Or earlier.
Or earlier in a lot of cases.
No, they are.
So that could help us in that piece of enforcement as well.
And there's street parking.
Yeah, and I know many a night I've come out of the Black Box at 10:30 or whatever and drive through town, and there's nobody there.
Everybody's in bed.
There
I
are
think
no
we-
cars in there.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, really quickly, I think, with new staff coming aboard, and I think we also have to have a conversation about how do we revitalize the nightlife in downtown to that level where the kitchens aren't shutting down at 9.
Yeah.
How do we do that?
How do we get people out of the house
do
to
we
come out
help
again
them?
to eat and drink and consume?
Tom, I think I still have the floor.
Yeah, you do.
To piggyback on your comments, Jamie, I seem to remember there was a pretty lengthy discussion about trying to revitalize the downtown business, and that this bylaw change and parking change was in hopes to give our businesses the leeway to maybe attract some of the Dean kids to, I don't know, come out and enjoy something. I just remember this big, long discussion about why we were trying to help the downtown businesses. Maybe that hasn't come to fruition yet, but I thought that's where we were trying to do. But I'll certainly yield the floor.
Thank you. Councilor Jones?
First of all, Jamie, 5:08 is the time I leave every single morning.
So,
Two of you.
who knows?
Counselor
Maybe-
Frangillo can't be out that late because he's catching the 508.
That's it.
I might-
508.
I might just catch that 508 train if it can get me to Dorchester with all the headaches of 95 North. But anyways, Councilor Cormier-Ledger, you're not wrong. We did have that lengthy discussion about turning it to 2 o'clock because of people who were leaving due to employees closing up for the night at the restaurants. But an interesting comment came actually from the owner of box seats, was that because of our bylaw where they have to provide food
Right.
up to closing, they just don't have the staff, and that's actually some very common feedback I got from many of the businesses in the neighborhood, who are like Teddy Gallagher's, even Jimmy D's, where they just don't have the staff. I mean, many of these local restaurants are suffering from some severe staffing issues, and they have a tough time just even staying open until 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. So, I think, Mr. Chairman, through you to Jamie, just a point of clarification. I know, I get your point about the police up until 1 o'clock on the end of their shift having an ability to go around and do it, but would 1 o'clock be so impactful to just move it from 12 PM to 1 PM? I mean,
Through you, Mr. Chairman. So, first of all, Councilor Cormier-Ledger is completely correct. This was a long discussion. I think there was a theory that people talked about that keeping the hours later might revitalize downtown. 1 AM, is it better? Sure. I think, though, then the chief would tell you is that the first thing the police on the 1 AM shift are going to do is get there for the shift, and they're going to go right down and try to enforce the law. Again, I think we'll still encounter potentially the same problem if there's a big accident or some issue on 495, for example. All resources are going to probably have to go to that. So we'll still miss the enforcement. I think the key element is the midnight to 1, where you're at the end of the shift on their way out with the additional staff that was just approved by the council.
They're piggy.
That additional staff is where you get that value of being able to go and enforce that lot directly at midnight. And I want to just finally say, I agree with Councilor Cormier-Ledger on the revitalization of downtown in his comments earlier. I don't know if the downtown, I've never heard from a business that they've desired to stay out and open till that late at night. So I'm just wondering if we're going to help businesses, maybe, we need to find out exactly what their issues are. And we need to find out how they get the Dean College kids to come out more often, whatever the demographic is. Again, there's still street parking for people. If we did get to that point, there's still free street parking. So, really the Depot Street lot's the key one, because that's what ultimately has been historically the commuter and merchant lot. So they need that lot cleared by the morning, fresh, and we need to make sure that the cars are out of there overnight. So, but I'm not going to sit here and argue about our visions for downtown revitalization. I mean, I'm as open as all of you are to any of those ideas. And if people really think that this is a good idea for that, we completely understand and agree with that.
Counselor
I'm
Frangillo.
not,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nope. That's okay, just one last comment.
Okay.
I understand the logic. I agree with keeping it at 12 o'clock, mainly because at the moment, our main economic conditions are such that the majority of the businesses that are in this location wouldn't necessarily be open this late anyways. But based on the logic that if economic conditions do improve, that we do come back and we come back and look at this again. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Which we can do
Absolutely.
as we're doing right now. Counselor Frangillo.
Yeah, thank you. I have two things. So the first is about this, but I will have a second point. But the first is about this, and I agree with Councilor Cormier-Ledger's points. It just feels like we're focusing on the wrong thing. I care less about the ease of enforcement than I do what are the goals of the rules, and partly because it's not I'm not thinking of it as a moneymaker, right? I'm not thinking of it as oh, can we get every single one? We just need enough to, it just needs to be enough of a point so that people choose not to do it, right? So if you get a sweep, even if it's a successful sweep once a week, that's enough people that say, okay, I can't park there because I'm at risk of getting ticketed, and that solves our problem. So I cared less about have we gotten every car than I do about are we giving an opportunity for our businesses to thrive. And to me it means do we either currently have a business that operates until 1 a.m. where staff might stay there until 2 a.m. or do we want to invite a business that has that? Well, we don't even have to get to the second question because Teddy's is open until 1 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. And so if their staff wants to stay, if we want them to park in the lots, which I think we do, then we have to let them be able to stay there until 2 a.m. and we can't be dinging them just because that's easy to enforce. I appreciate the thought. I appreciate that we're working with, and making sure that, okay, does this make sense with everyone? But to me, it seems like we lost sight of like the goal of these, which is, are we allowing businesses to thrive? I would be in favor of turning it back to 2 a.m. For that reason.
Well, it's currently.
It's currently
2.
two.
So we wouldn't be turning it.
Yeah,
back.
well, we would have to amend this to 2 a.m. because
Right.
there are other
Right,
things that it does.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's one. The second point is just whenever these come up, do we have conversations with property owners around like the Ferraris lot, of their willingness to let us use theirs? I mean, we have 174 public spaces here that I would, I can't wait until we get 174, people in our downtown. Never mind the street parking, but especially with stormwater fees come up. We've talked about this before. I think master plans. I plan on talking about it in master plan. But if there are ever, if someone's coming back and saying, hey, you're charging us for our parking, is there an opportunity to talk to them about, well, if you lend it to us, or if we take that on, it's still yours, it's still right next to your building, but if we get to open it up to the public and just better, and are more efficient with our surface parking lots.
Through you, Mr. Chair, if I understand the question correctly, we leased the Ferraris lot from that family, so.
Yeah, are there other, you think of Rockland Trust as the big lot, you think of Black Box has the lot, you think of certainly the MBTA ones at both places.
To be honest with you, Mr. Chairman, I don't know how to answer that because in the sense that there's already way too much parking. So I think we agree on that.
Yeah.
There's not enough cars or people filling the spaces, right? I think for me, business development and downtown revitalization is about marketing and trying to find ways to bring people out of their homes back to be consumers. I think we're missing that piece. From my standpoint, that's the piece that we're missing. I don't think, either one way or the other, I don't think the parking regulations in Depot Street and Ferraris is going to make a big difference to the average consumer or business. I do think it will for the police department. But have we identified or reached out? No. I have not reached out to any other business owners. I don't know, if I have the time to do that, and I don't know if that's the biggest priority. We have a lot of spaces that aren't filled. Part of the goal I will go back to, though, as an addendum to that question, is the Depot Street lot, I think we want to fill with commuters. I'm hoping that lot, it used to be filled, every single parking space, every day, was packed with commuters, and there was a waiting list. And so we were getting people out of their cars and onto the train, and to commute into Boston, which I did Tuesday and was a nightmare. It took me 20 minutes to get from the intersection of 495 to Cambridge, and then took me an hour to get from Cambridge to Boston. Actually an hour and 10 minutes, to be precise. But it was mind-numbing. So I'd love to believe that maybe that lot, unfortunately, at some point Depot Street that 68 spaces would then be commuters every day. To which the 5 a.m. enforcement is a big deal, right? Because then that's one space then somebody else can't use the next day or such and such and such. But I've not reached out to any other business owners for parking. I haven't felt like there's a need. Maybe the ideas with stormwater you're bringing up, I think, are far in the future, maybe now, but I'm not saying that your vision is wrong. I think your vision and where you're going with shared parking is the right one. But we as a community have not created the demand for downtown. We have not.
Yeah.
And until we have irritable people who can't find a parking space like Hudson,
Yeah.
I think we're setting the wrong priority list out there. I think we need more people coming to downtown to generate that argument test that we need to reach out to other entities on parking. Otherwise, we're just gonna keep on having lots of parking without, like, people to fill them, so.
You and I are well in agreement on that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more, as people come to us, if there's an opportunity for just a more efficient use of existing share parking, the parking's already there, if we can coordinate a little better in their opportunities, just be open to it.
Absolutely.
Would be all,
And I'm very curious on the pantry.
Is now the best time? Yeah, right.
Right.
Is now the best time to offer an amendment, or we let
Why don't
people
we
talk?
just let everybody
Yeah,
else get an opportunity and then,
Yeah.
absolutely. Counselor Hamblin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair, yet, to everyone, I guess. Yes, we did have a long discussion about this. I remember that I said at one time that it would be okay to go to 2 a.m. if we all agreed that we would bring it back if the chief didn't think he could enforce it. And I think my fellow councilors might not think it's a big deal, but I think it's a big deal because people won't follow it if it's not enforced. And we'll have people there that stay overnight. I do think that it would be easier for the police. And it's like, I'm not an expert on it. They're the experts. I kind of feel like they should make the decisions. If there's a lot of people that get tagged or get a ticket, then maybe we change it. But I think for now, if it helps the chief get his officers through there, and we can enforce it, then it's really important. The 5 a.m., starting at 5 a.m. is good because, we don't want to ticket all the commuters. And the Davis Thayer thing is okay with me too. So, thank you, Jamie, for all your work, and the chief. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Counselor Hamblin. Counselor Sheridan?
Chair, through you, so is the Davis lot, is it signage there? I haven't noticed it saying.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, there wouldn't be any signage until after a final bylaw
Okay.
went through. So we aim to do this. I think it would be effective
But
if I
there
remember.
would be.
It would be.
There would be, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
would be, definitely.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Counselor Sheridan. Counselor Chandler?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. All right, I actually made this amendment last time.
Yes.
So I've done a little bit of reflection here. And I've been moved back to the 12 to 5, because I agree with the police, what they need to do. And train, I had no, that is a big deal.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say a couple of things that maybe people won't agree with, but I don't think we're ever gonna get anybody downtown now. That's my reflection. These restaurants, it's dying. I know people don't wanna hear that, but it's dying. And, and even in the future, the downtown partnership money we give, next year, we're probably gonna need for a teacher. So they're gonna get even less. Because I can't see giving them money and not keeping the teachers going. So, and lastly, this is through you, Mr. Chairman, towards the chief. Hopefully, New Year's Eve, there'll be a reprieve of no tickets down there. One day a year, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. I
Look at that.
appreciate that.
Nice job.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Counselor DeLarco?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, we need a train to go at 4:30 for me to get there. Because that's the time I leave. But, couple things, the Rome has their own parking, so they're kind of out of it. So, I mean, who doesn't park at the Rome or at Charlie O'Terry's?
Yep.
When it's time to go to the Rome. That's what I do. So,
Don't give away your secrets.
Oh, so much for those parking spots.
I think we should start ticketing.
So the other thing was, I wanted to piggyback on Councilor Sheridan too, because I wanted to make sure there was signage at Davis there, to make sure that it's all done right. The other thing is Friday and Saturday night at Teddy at 1, and I agree with Councilor Frangello, is, we don't ticket Friday and Saturday nights anyway, do we? Or can we not do that for Friday and Saturday? So that maybe their employees, I don't think they.
Through,
It gets hard.
through you, Mr. Chairman, I mean, technically in the bylaw, you could amend the depot lot or the Ferraris lots, which are really not only your commuter, but also your customer lots that are the most accessible. You could amend depot and/or Ferraris to say no overnight parking Monday through Sunday, 12 to 5, no overnight parking Saturday and Sunday, Monday through Friday, 12 to 5, and then, or Monday through Thursday, 12 to 5, and then you could say Friday, Saturday, 1 to 5 or 2 to 5. You could, sorry,
You
I
could
just,
do
I
Sunday,
ad-libbed.
Sunday to Thursday.
Sunday to
Friday-
Thursday.
Sunday
right.
and Thursday have
You
Friday,
know, you
Saturday.
could do that.
Yeah.
I was just, I
It'll
just
make
threw
the
that out
signage a
there.
little
I don't know
longer,
How the
and-
other councilors feel about
Yeah,
that, but,
That sounds like.
you know.
And if you're worried about that side of town, you could even just do depot and leave Ferraris out of it. You could add both in. I mean, Ferraris were on a lease, so, the lease is up in 3 years anyway. We gotta figure the future of the lease out in a couple of years regardless, right? But, I think what y'all are really concerned about is mostly depot. But if you wanted to do depot and Ferrara, Sunday to Thursday, 12 to 5, and Friday and Saturday from 1 to 5, or whatever the closing time was, you could do that as well. Because at least Friday and Saturday, presumably, there are no commuters.
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
And you would give those businesses
Yeah.
an opportunity.
Right.
I was thinking, give those people, what do you think, chief? I mean,
In the Sunday.
Perfect opportunity.
I know.
Every time we do
Like you
it.
said, those lots, like the Depot Street lot, you want it to be available so people can park there, the commuters can be able to use it.
right,
And you don't want anybody parking overnight all the time, because if they can do it and they
Right.
get away with it, then you get people that just don't have a parking spot, like maybe where they're staying or whatever else.
Living
And they
either.
just stay there.
right.
So, yeah, no, I think that would be fine.
Well,
If
as
that-
long
if
as you
that's
think
the
it's
solution,
fine.
then, yeah, I think
I'm
that
with
would be
it.
able to, it'll be tougher to do it, like as Jamie said. The big thing is you have 5 patrolmen going home at 2 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah,
and then there's only 3 in the sergeant lot, from 2 to 6, 27 square miles, 33,000
yeah,
people.
I get that too, yeah.
So that's the reason that I try to say, if you want us to be able to enforce it, to make it so that people will not park there and get the message that, so that we can, basically enforce the overnight. If you do it at 12, we can have people going by at 1. With the 1 o'clock shift coming in, you still got the,
You're piggybacking,
yeah, you still have the 4 to 2 on before they go home, and the 9 to 7 is still there as well. So we have enough, we have a plethora of people before everybody goes at 2
Right.
o'clock in the morning. And then you get a couple of calls, and we might miss that 3-hour window. Just won't be able to get by it, which is not uncommon.
Yeah, I mean, I just threw it out there just to see what you guys all think.
Yeah.
I like
I
it.
mean,
Try that and see how it goes for a year.
Should we make amendments?
Yeah, in a second, I just want to make sure that everybody that wanted to speak
Sorry.
on it had a chance to speak on it. All right, now Cody.
Yeah,
Give it
I
a
like that
shot.
I'm not always the best at figuring out where the compromise. I had a much more fiery line about my strong, but I like the compromise because I mean that's really all it is, right? Like
Yeah.
I never expect us to be like every night, going out night. But to be a lively community, I think you need a lively Friday, Saturday night.
I agree.
We agree. We all
So,
agree.
yeah, so that means a motion, I make a motion to amend the parking lot, the parking map to say no overnight, Sunday to Thursday, 12 a.m. to 5 a.m., no overnight parking, Friday to Saturday, 2 a.m. to 5 a.m.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion on the motion. Patrick?
Yes, I don't think we actually want to be a community where people are out drinking 2 o'clock on Monday night.
Something to consider. All opportunities are on the table.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Then the vote will come on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now, I need another motion to move bylaw
move.
amendment as
By-
amended.
Move bylaw amendment 23-900 as amended to its second reading.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, just a quick note from the clerk. I won't be making those adjustments in this first draft. The administration's going to make the adjustments. Those are going to come back to us for a second reading, just to let you know.
Where,
No,
It's noted.
it's voted in the first draft.
Correct,
Right.
that's what I put as amended.
Okay.
point of procedure?
Sure.
First and privilege.
I don't know, this is my fault, I don't know if I specified which parking lots to change. Did I?
Yeah.
Just Depot?
I think she did
Or
Depot
Depot
and
and
Ferrera's.
Ferraris, okay,
Yeah.
Depot and Ferraris.
You didn't specify,
You didn't
but if you
specify.
want to add it to that.
Well, that's the thing, I don't know if that's gonna be a disagreement, I think it should be Depot and Ferraris, just because it's easy,
That's
that's our
where the
downtown.
discussion was. I mean, the
Yes.
library,
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody going in the
Yeah, yeah.
library at 2 a.m.
I hope not.
Let's hope not.
And you definitely want to be drinking.
It's a different party.
Yeah.
It's a different party, Felicia.
Okay.
Totally different crowd.
Okay. Seeing no further discussion, the vote will come on the bylaw amendment 23-900 as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Nice job.
23-41, appropriation transfers FY '23. Clerk will read the transfers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Resolution 23-41, appropriation transfers for fiscal year '23. Purpose, to transfer fiscal year '23 appropriations to cover unanticipated shortfalls as follows. I will be reading the source, the department, and then the amount. 123, town administrators expenses, $7,500. 135, comptroller salaries, $15,000. 147, treasurer salaries, $20,000. 151, legal expenses, $5,000. 152, human resource salaries, $30,000. 155, IT salaries, $19,000. 240, inspection salaries, $15,000. 510, board and health salaries, $10,000. 541, council on aging salaries, $31,425. 910, benefits expenses, $275,000, for a total of $427,925. For uses, 192, department facilities expenses, $400,000. 196, central services expenses, $10,000. 395, Norfolk Aggie expenses, $1,925. 210, fire salaries, $7,500. 630, recreation salaries, $8,500. For a total of $427,925. Be it moved and voted by the town council that the sum of $427,925 to be transferred from the sources indicated above to the uses indicated above in the amounts stated prior to June 30th, 2023. This resolution to become effective according to the provisions of the Town of Franklin Home Rule Charter.
Move resolution 23-41.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Jamie?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, so the next three resolutions are the final three resolutions that need to be passed to close out FY '23, the current fiscal year. This has nothing to do with the budget that the council hearing just went through, just so everybody at home knows. The first resolution are the annual transfers between departments to cover shortfalls in some of those accounts. As you can see, 400,000 of the 427,000 to be transferred is strictly from facilities, which is single-handedly due to the electricity rate that had to go up by 4 cents a kilowatt mid-year, right? So that took effect in January. We talked all about this during the budget hearings. If anybody has any questions on inflation, let me know. And then the other accounts on here are minor. Councilor Jones, I would make one minor change because we wouldn't want Chief Lynch to get any of the fire salaries. In the uses, fire salaries is account 220, not 211. Doesn't change the money, but, you know, I'm sure the Chief Lynch would be thrilled to get $7,500 extra, and I'm sure Chief McLaughlin would not want to give that up, so, you know, they sit next to each other back there, both in blue and white, but you know, we know that.
So, just for clarification, this
yeah.
is going to police?
If you just look on the resolution, it says 210 fire salary.
Yes.
Should be 220. Fire is 220.
Oh,
Doesn't
sorry.
change the dollar value
Yep.
at all, just changes
Nope,
that.
clarification, I get that. I'll make that adjustment right here.
And then obviously, if anybody else has any questions on this resolution, happy to answer them. If you, then the second resolution is the same for just the sewer fund. And then the third resolution is actually leftover money that you're required to vote on to deposit into the
Let's
MEC
stay with the mo-
stabilization
Let's
account.
stay with the one resolution.
I'm trying
that
to
we're-
just
I know
streamline
you-
it, Mr.
I know
Chairman.
you're trying.
Too much.
Okay, questions from the council? Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion to approve Resolution 23-41. A majority votes required. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 23-42, Sewer Enterprise Fund Supplemental Appropriation FY '23. Clerk will read the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Resolution 23-42, Appropriation Sewer Enterprise Fund Supplemental Appropriation Fiscal Year '23. Total amount requested $50,000. Purpose, to appropriate funds for Sewer Enterprise Fund retained earnings of fiscal year '23 for additional costs related to the Sewer Enterprise Fund expenses. Sewer Enterprise Fund expenses, $50,000. Motion, be it moved and voted by the Town Council that the sum of $50,000 to be transferred from Sewer Enterprise Fund retained earnings to the Sewer Enterprise Fund expenses. Said transfer to be made prior to June 30th, 2023. This resolution should become effective according to the provisions of the Town of Franklin Home Rule Charter.
Move resolution 23-42.
Second.
Motion and second, discussion. Jamie, anything to add?
Nope.
Okay. Questions or comments from the council? Councilor Cormier Ledger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just always think it's important for the audience that's watching from home that may not benefit from some of the documents that we're reading. So it does say here that this is really a safety net appropriation, that the department may not need the money, and if, in that case, at the end of the year, the money would still go to free cash. The town administrator is proposing this to make sure that things balance correctly.
Correct.
Just for our viewers
Okay.
out there that
That's
are
fine.
always wondering
Thank
where the
you.
money's going,
Yeah.
it's nice to be able to
Understood.
tell.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion to approve Resolution 23-42. Again, a majority votes required. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 23-43, transfer of FY '23 regional dispatch appropriation to the MEC Public Safety Stabilization Fund. Clerk will read the bylaw amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Resolution 23-43, Appropriation, Transfer of Fiscal Year '23 Regional Dispatch Appropriation to MEC Public Safety Stabilization Fund. Purpose, to transfer the Fiscal Year '23 Regional Dispatch Appropriation to MEC Public Safety Stabilization Fund for total amount $230,857 to be moved and voted by the Town Council by the sum of $230,857 to be transferred from Fiscal Year '23 Regional Dispatch Appropriation to the MEC Public Safety Stabilization Fund. This resolution should become effective according to the provisions of the Town of Franklin Home Rule Charter.
Move resolution 23-43.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Jamie?
Through Mr. Chairman, to Councilor Cormier Ledger's excellent point a moment ago, this is excess money in the regional dispatch account that needs to be voted on to be deposited technically into the rainy day fund. This is the savings account essentially we have to offset some of the increases that we're going to see in FY '25 and FY '26 for the dispatch center. Thank you.
Further discussion from the council. Councilor Cormier Ledger.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I'm chatty tonight. So, just a point of clarification, I think, from my own purposes, and maybe others are wondering, didn't we just move $250,000 from this stabilization account to help the schools in our last meeting? So now we're basically putting back $230,000 into it. Am I reading that right?
You are reading that 100% correct. Pretty savvy, isn't it?
So we have like a net loss of like $19,000.
Bingo. So we still have about 850,000 in that stabilization account.
Okay.
That will be, again, I'm guessing in FY '25 and '26. Obviously, we don't know, but I bet you you're gonna use half of that savings each of the next 2 years to help offset the huge spike in the impact of what that assessment is gonna be. For folks at home that don't know, the last 4 years, due to the fact that we put in the hard work to regionalize 2 regional dispatch centers, we were eligible for a state development grant, which offset the full cost of the dispatch center. That led to us having excess capacity in our budget to spend on other areas, but we planned properly to have this account there to help offset those cost increases. You know, could be the next 5 years, but, you know, I think we all know that it's probably gonna be the next one or 2 years.
Councilor Cormier-Ledger, you still have the floor.
I guess my question, Mr. Chairman, really comes from, we maintain multiple stabilization accounts as a town. So why would, just for clarification, Jamie, why this particular one to dip into when we needed to send it to the schools? Why not one of our other ones that maybe we weren't gonna be replenishing in need for the dispatch later on? I'm just a little, I guess I'm a little confused.
So when the stabilization account was set up a couple of years ago, and we knew that there would be savings each year, you can't, when we got the grant 4 years ago, you have to actually technically apply to the state every year. It's a competitive grant, okay? And so you cannot actually guarantee 2, 3, or 4 years out, you're gonna see those savings. So each year, we budgeted the amount that we anticipated would be the full assessment. And even though the assessment was less because of the grant, it really makes, I think, common sense to say, well, wait a minute, we're getting a grant and the regional dispatch center is doing all the hard work to save money. Well, we know that next year's assessment in FY '25 is probably gonna be 1.5 million, and probably the year after that, 1.6, 1.7 million. It makes sense to say, well, regional dispatch saved the money, we should put those savings into the savings account that then is gonna offset those costs in future years. Otherwise, you're now $2 in the hole if you transfer it somewhere else, because then you've now cut that dollar out, but now you've increased the dollar obligation in future years. So it just makes a lot of good fiscal sense, I guess.
Yeah, that part I completely get.
Hope I get it.
I completely get
Oh, okay.
putting money aside to help because you know that it's gonna get more expensive going forward because some of the state contributions will be less. But why not, I guess, why didn't we just leave it alone then if we knew, and we could have taken the money last month to help the schools from a different account? Because this just seems like moving money around to me, but I might be. I just, for everyone listening, if you could explain and help me out, that'd be great.
Number one, it's just 2 totally different fiscal years. So even though we just approved an FY '24 budget, that starts July 1
Yeah.
and goes through June 30th next fiscal year, right?
Yeah.
You approved a budget based on assumptions. We haven't collected a penny to pay the bill for FY '24. You know, this is closing out this year. And so I will admit, I completely knew that there would be a reduction on this line item. And so it actually made it easier for me to make the proposal for the schools on the 250,000 that we did a few weeks ago, because I knew the account would be replenished by the end of this fiscal year. You can't make that change between fiscal years. It's hard to explain.
Okay, no,
Counselor.
that-
I don't know how to, it's just,
No, that's
it's 2
helpful.
completely different fiscal years.
Yeah, that's
So,
helpful. Okay, thank you.
All set,
Yeah,
Councilor Cormier-Ledger?
yeah.
Any other questions? Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion to approve Resolution 23-43. A majority votes required. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 23-44, appropriation of funds to enable town to implement Chapter 193 of Legislative Acts of 2018, landfill land swap legislation. Clerk will read the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to read this resolution. Resolution 2344, appropriation of funds to enable the town to implement Chapter 193 of Legislative Acts of 2018. Landfill land swap legislation, so-called, whereas in Chapter 193 of Legislative Acts of 2018 authorizes the Commissioner of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Divisions of Capital Assessment Management and Maintenance, hereinafter known as DCAMM, DCAM, to convey certain land abutting town of Franklin's former land landfill to town, and whereas partial consideration for said conveyance includes town's payments to DCAM of compensation representing the fair market value of said land based upon independent appraisal, and whereas the town has had an independent appraisal performed which determined that the fair market value of said land to be $200,000. Now therefore, the town of Franklin, acting by and through the Franklin Town Council, hereby votes that the sum of $200,000 be expended to acquire land owned by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, abutting town's former landfill from DCAM, as authorized by and in Chapter 193 of Legislative Acts of 2018, and that the said sum be appropriated and transferred from a capital account approved by the Town Council in Resolution 22-30 on June 8, 2022, for said purpose. This resolution should become effective according to the provisions of the Town of Franklin Home Rule Charter.
Move resolution 23-44.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion. Jamie?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, through you, the council, this is literally a housekeeping item that the Commonwealth has asked us to do. The council years ago already appropriated the money for this, but it was in a capital account, and the state just simply asked Mark and I to draft something and have the council approve. So for the file, the state somewhere up in Boston, they have this resolution that shows the appropriation was single-handedly done for just the land swap. The appropriation that was made a few years ago was a large chunk of money for several projects. This is literally a house cleaning item. As we're going through the checklists, the attorney for the state just asked if we could do this, so I said sure.
Thank you, Jamie. Questions from the council? Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion to approve Resolution 23-44. Again, a majority vote's required. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Zoning bylaw amendment 23-898. A zoning bylaw to amend the Franklin Town Code at Chapter 185, Attachment 9, Schedule of Lot, Area, Frontage, Yard, and Height Requirements. Clerk will read the bylaw amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is zoning bylaw amendment 23-898, zoning bylaw to amend the Franklin Town Code at Chapter 185, Attachment 9, Schedule of Lot, Area, Frontage, Yard, and Height Requirements, be it enacted by the Franklin Town Council that Chapter 185 of the Code of the Town of Franklin is hereby amended by the following additions and or deletions. The subsection 185, Attachment 9, Schedule Lot, Area, Frontage, Yards, and Height Requirements. The significant change, Mr. Chairman, has to do with General Residential 5. There is a change on the maximum impervious coverage of existing upland from 30 to 45 for structures, and from 35 to 55 for structures plus paving. On the next page, sorry. Sticky fingers today. Huh? There we go. On the next page, note number 7 has been revised to read, permitted residential uses must observe requirements of General Residential 5 districts for residential use buildings, multifamily residential with 3 housing units, and mixed-use buildings are exempt from the requirement. The foregoing zoning bylaw amendment shall take effect in accordance with the Franklin Home Rule Charter of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 48, Section 5.
Move zoning,
Hang on one second, Councilor DeLaco. Should this be 898R or 898?
Yeah.
Because in the
I-
motion,
I was going to mention this. So it's 898. The R should have been taken off the agenda, but we had a discussion about it because the EDC amended it.
Right.
So we haven't had that happen much. But ultimately, the R only really stays there if the council amends it. and sends it to planning board.
Just want to make sure we move
Yep.
the right
Because I didn't know
bylaw
what
amendment.
to
Yeah.
Yep, I got it.
say. I would have said,
It's gonna be referrals to the planning
Move-
board. It's
move-
referral
Right.
to the plan.
Yeah.
yeah. Move zoning bylaw amendment 23-898 to the planning board.
Second.
Motion and second, discussion. Jamie?
For the planning board, there was a unanimous decision on an amended proposal before the EDC, and the entire group voted in favor. I'm sure that Councilor Hamlin might have a couple questions or comments, and I know Brian's here to answer anything folks may have.
Thank you, Jamie. Councilor Hamblin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm gonna try to move a little bit because the sun's coming right through getting blinded by the sun here. Yeah, so this is actually from the Franklin for All project. It's one of the things that the EDC took on by ourselves without the big steering committee. It was suggested that we change the impervious coverage for general residential 5 because it was just too restrictive to allow anything to be built there. And as we've been talking about through this whole process, is that we're trying to make it so that we could actually build the things that we want to see. And so we believe that this will help us and help the builders build things that we want to see in that area. And we really want to get it to the planning board so that they can have their discussions about it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Hamblin. Any other councilors? Seeing none, the
try
vote will come on the motion to refer bylaw amendment 23-898 to the planning board. Again, a majority vote's required. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Zoning bylaw amendment 23-899, marijuana use overlay district, a zoning bylaw amendment to the code of the town of Franklin at chapter 185, section 5, zoning map. Clerk will read the bylaw amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Zoning bylaw amendment 23-899, marijuana use overlay district, a zoning bylaw amendment to the code of town of Franklin at chapter 185, section 5 zoning map. Be enacted by the Franklin Town Council, the code of town of Franklin is hereby amended by making the following amendments to subsection 185-5 zoning map. That the zoning map of the town of Franklin be amended by deleting the marijuana use overlay district, that the following 7 parcels of land as shown in the town of Franklin's assessors map. Parcel numbers 288-004-000, 290-003-000, 290-004-000, 295-002-000, 295-003-000, 295-004-000, 319-015-000. In the zoning map, the town of Franklin be amended by adding the marijuana use overlay district, the following 9 parcels of land as shown on the town of Franklin's assessors map. Parcel numbers 27202-000, 2720005-000, 274-009-000, 275-001-000, 290-007-000, 306-043-000, 314-021-000, 314-023-000, 319-023-000. The area to be rezoned is shown on the attached map. Proposed zoning map changes to marijuana use overlay district. The foregoing zoning bylaw amendment shall take effect in accordance with the Franklin Home Rule Charter and Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 5.
Move zoning bylaw amendment 23-899 to the planning board.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Jamie?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, so this is just a house cleaning map on the overlay districts. The maps pretty much explain what's being taken out, what's being put on. Just for the public's edification really quickly. Basically, the industry in Franklin, I think we all agreed at the EDC is where it is. There's no expansion here in terms of other areas of town. The districts are still located in the industrial parks. We know that there's some parcels that have changed due to church relocations, school relocations, making sure there's proper buffer zones. Brian, Gus, the staff, Amy, everybody, Mark, myself, we've all gone through these maps. We all talked to the EDC. The EDC voted unanimously to bring it to the council to refer to the planning board.
Thank you, Jamie. Questions from councilors? Councilor Hamblin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not a question, but just, this was on one of our to-do list, our goals for the year, or the term. So the staff went through this, and this is just their recommendation. There were people that that didn't like it, but I think it's important to get to the public hearing so that we can hear from everyone, all the landowners and all the abutters. And so that's why we recommend this to go through to the planning board.
Thank you, Councilor Henry. And Councilor Chandler?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Not everybody does like drugs, but I gotta give a shout out to Brian and all you guys, because I don't usually like zoning, but this was so user-friendly.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
seriously, like, if you wanted to figure this out, where you could do any of the marijuana or where it's gonna affect anybody, I mean, just the X's, the ads,
Yeah.
you could follow this. This wasn't all R and 2 zone. This was just like, you could just follow the streets and you could just see, you could picture the buildings and just where that there was no houses there. You took away anything near the Y,
Yep.
which
Yep.
was great. I mean, just some real thought this was great. I enjoyed the zoning when I read this.
Wow.
I think I'm in shock. I think we've that's wonderful,
No, I mean,
Councilor
this
Chandler.
was perfect.
There are mountains being moved this
We
evening.
just won. We won.
Anyone at home, Mr. Chairman, could really dig right into this, no problems.
Thank you, Councilor Chandler.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion to refer bylaw amendment 23-899 to the planning board. Again, the majority votes required. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And that concludes our legislation for action for this evening. We'll move on. Town Administrator's Report.
So-
Mr. Helen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So before I get to the introduction of the Deputy Town Administrator, the Fire Chief wouldn't take credit for this, but I think we all know where this is. I can hear him over there right now. We just found out today that the Fire Department was awarded a $301,000 grant for firefighter training, so. I think he set me up so he would get the applause. Anyways, so thank you, Mr. Chairman. So obviously, I handed out the announcement appointment for the Deputy Town Administrator. I handed out a copy. I'll send it around to the community. But just in short, I'm pleased to announce the appointment of Amy M. for Giulietti as the Deputy Town Administrator. I know Chris will show the camera finally off me at some point. But anyways, just want to illustrate to the public, Amy's a career public servant who brings nearly 20 years of in-depth, diverse, and extensive public sector experience to the organization. I will be sending her professional bio out. I know you all have it in front of you. And she starts on July 3rd of this year. I'm still shaking. I can't actually believe that's happening. When I read this, I'm still trying to even pinch myself that we're here. Just for the public, I know obviously this is a really critical position for the community, but the hiring process went very smoothly. It did take us several months to complete. The town was very fortunate enough to receive 119 applications for this position. I had to kind of recount them several times to believe it myself, but I think hopefully that speaks well of the organization. The interview panel, many of which are here tonight, were HR Director Karen Bratt, the Chief of Police TJ Lynch, the Fire Chief Jim McLaughlin, the Library Director Felicia Odie, Treasurer Collector Kerry Bertoni, and how could I leave him out? The DPW Director, the ham of all hams, Brutus Cantareggi, and myself. We did 3 days of interviews, almost a dozen folks, and the panel independently and confidently and unanimously, independently, each person easily selected Amy for the position. She did a phenomenal job in her interview. Her background is extremely extensive. And we are extremely excited. I'm just going to be selfish for a minute. I'm really excited. You know, and I can't thank the committee members and the panel members enough for their thoughtfulness of what the community needs. As I told all of them, I really wanted them to make a decision, right? At the end of the day, whether I'm here, not here, whoever's in this seat, they know their departments the best. They know their succession planning the best, and for the future health of the community, as Jeff did as well. You know, I didn't want to make this at all about me. You know, I wanted it to be a large part about them, because they're also, their colleagues will have that confidence as well. And really do appreciate their thoughtful input throughout the interview process, and for challenging me and challenging one another to make sure that we hired the best candidate. I think everybody feels that we certainly did. In addition to familiarizing herself with the community, Amy's early slate of work will include several business development projects, the marketing and branding, cultural and historic resources development. She'll certainly be working with us, Mr. Chairman, on college relations. Shared streets initiatives, which she has a lot of experience with from her experience in Wellesley. And obviously a lot of other special, unique projects to take off my plate. One of the other things I hope to have her focus on early is on social services. Individual departments and organizations in town. We were at the food pantry last week with their new building. But one of the things I've seen is really not as much collaboration, and we all work really well together, but I think everyone's hearts are in the right place trying to run forward with a lot of different things relative to mental health, substance abuse, opioid addiction, food security, homelessness. We've talked a lot about this over the last several years, certainly from the pandemic, and you know, we really haven't had anybody to really lead a more holistic charge. The schools are doing their thing and they're in their space. Do they know what's going on in the police department? Does the police know what's going on in some of the nonprofits in town? And I think if we're going to maximize our resources and be the most effective in addressing those issues and really identifying exactly what the need is, you know, we certainly need somebody. In her experience, certainly working in the city of Boston, will lend a lot of very extensive experience to social services. So just really, really excited to have her here. Again, she's going to be starting on July 3rd. And as I say at the bottom of the memo, as all of you did for me and all of the other folks that have come to town, I hope the community will give Amy Franklin's traditional warm welcome to the Franklin family. So just want to introduce Amy Frugilietti as our next Deputy Town Administrator. And they're going to ask you, Amy, which is a good job interview right in and of itself. So hop right up to the microphone and say hi. You're the next contestant.
Thank you for having me here tonight. I'm thrilled to be here.
And Steve will do this all the time. Just I should have given you a warning on that.
Get used to that.
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here. I can't wait to, you know, really meet all of you and work with the departments and the staff and really get out into the community and learn the issues and start work, you know, get to work. So thank you so much for having me here.
Well, thank you and welcome aboard.
Are there any questions? Or?
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, of course I do.
I'm gonna go to Councilor DeLarco first.
So, is it, can you take over the role as Jamie now? Because when Jamie was Jeff's, we just called Jamie. We never called Jeff. Jeff was like retired for at least 2 years.
No way.
Yeah,
No way. Jamie's get more work.
yeah, exactly.
No, but welcome aboard. I've
Thank you
heard
very
great things about you, so.
Thank you so much.
Councilor Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I mean, Jamie, you could have given her a start date of July 5th. At least give her off.
Why, she gets the holiday for July 3rd.
You know? Jeez, give the woman a break. She hasn't even
That
started
isn't
yet.
spoken like a union person.
I know. Hey, you know where the weekends come from, right? Yeah, from the union. I know she does. Amy, it's such a pleasure to have you. I with your extensive background and knowledge, and I have full faith and trust in all the members who are part of your hiring. For them to have a unanimous decision to hire you on tells me a lot about your personality and your abilities to do your job. And I look forward to working with you. It's nice to to not have to put up with Jamie all the time. I'm just kidding.
It's true,
But
I don't want to put up with myself all the time.
all joking aside, you're a great addition to our administration, and I welcome you aboard.
Thank you so much, I appreciate it.
Anybody else? Amy, welcome aboard.
That was
And
easy.
Look forward to
Yeah, it's just like-
it. It will get harder.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Amy.
She doesn't really work for us yet.
My questions come later,
We don't
yeah.
scare her away.
You just wait till
Okay?
July comes.
Okay, you guys?
Jamie, anything else on your
All
report?
set, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, subcommittee reports. EDC met.
We did meet, yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The EDC met tonight before the full council meeting. We discussed the branding and marketing plan. And I just want to take a moment to thank the capital budget subcommittee for approving $50,000 for us to do this work, and Rep. Roy matching ARPA funds for marketing and branding. Julie Jacobson for doing all this work. So this is the timeline. It's about 4 or 5 years that we have to do these things. Lily, they work together, really spent a lot of work. We got input from the school committee and the superintendent of schools, as well as a few of the counselors and the town staff. And I think this is going to be, it's really exciting for us to work on this branding project. The EDC has been really excited about it. And so we're, as you can tell, we just can't wait to get to work. I mean, we've had to like go backwards a little bit, but now we're going to go forwards and get this done. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. Thank you, Councilor Hamden, and we can't wait to get moving forward with this as well. Okay, GATRA.
GATRA, yeah, so GATRA met today, and we approved our fiscal year 2024 budget. So there was a big effort from the new administrator to make this budget easier to understand, very clear buckets, what's coming in, what's going out for the 3 types of transit that they offer. You'll see some of the Franklin line items there as well. If you have any questions about the budget, we're waiting for the state budget, and RTAs are a big conversation in that state budget, so there's the possibility for hopefully only good news coming out of that, but so there'll be a few more adjustments. But if you ever have questions about GATRA budget or expenditures, feel free to ask me.
Thank you, Councilor Frangillo. Any questions for? Okay, master plan, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Master Plan Update Committee had its first official meeting last Wednesday, June 14th at 6:30 in the evening. That was our initial meeting. We mostly spent the time doing introductions. We got to introduce all the 13 members of the group, as well as the planning department. And we also got to meet Beta, who's going to be our consultant for the duration of the master plan process, as well as his consultant who's going to be working with them, the Barrett Group, who introduced themselves last week as well. Beta and Barrett, the consultants, actually had an opportunity last Wednesday to take the opportunity to walk with the town planning department throughout the town, get familiar with many of the amenities. They went to the schools, they came to the town hall, senior center, and a whole bunch of other places. So the process is well underway. Our next master plan committee meeting of the full membership will actually be next Wednesday at 6:30, next Wednesday, June 28th at 6:30. Same place, same bad time.
Thank you, Councilor Jones. Any questions for Councilor Jones?
I wanted to speak on Davis there.
Yeah, do that under Councilor comments.
Subcommittee.
I'm sorry, your committee.
Your subcommittee.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you had gotten it yet. You're all set.
Yes,
No
sir.
question. Councilor Pellegrini and the Davis Thayer Reuse Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I spoke with Jamie the other day because I had a few people asking me when we were going to meet, when the meetings were going to begin. Well, he has informed me that they won't be starting, correct me if I'm wrong, until August.
Mr. Chairman, we're polling them to see if we can get one meeting in July,
Oh, all right, you didn't say July, but
and-
that's fine.
and then if not, we'll try to aim for that Tuesday. I think we'd want to try to do them Tuesdays.
Trying to get the whole group together for
We're doing,
July and August, yeah.
we're doing, Julie's polling both the DT and the police station folks to find out what chunks of time are best for them to meet. And so, you know, I'm hopeful that a meeting could get scheduled in July, but, you know, that's optimistic. So I think Debbie's probably correct that it probably won't be till August, but we'll see.
Okay.
I just wanted the committee members to know that, you know, I did look into it, and we weren't gonna be starting until then, so enjoy your summer.
Thank you,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Pellegrini. Okay, moving on, future agenda items. Councilor Hamblin,
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Councilor Frangillo.
Yeah, just a second, it was brought up before, but if we could get that sort of flag conversation going, setting up that group that was going to consider it, that'd be great. I just drove through Medway, beautiful rainbows all down. Didn't seem like any big hubbub to do that, so I'm excited to see what we can do in town.
Anything else?
That's it.
Councilor Sheridan.
I get the crest at the Strawberry Festival for bike lanes. Is that something we could discuss at some point?
I'm glad I have a deputy town administrator now. Fearing flags, subcommittees, more meetings, no.
But the good news is she's not working yet, so
Right.
she's not
I
ready.
just don't want to scare her away too
Scare her
fast either.
away.
No, I think it's probably part of the infrastructure
I
debate.
would
When
think so.
Brutus gets the pavement management plan done, we can talk about
Yeah.
that too.
But
Yeah.
we'll look into it. Councilor Pellegrini.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Councilor Chandler.
Nothing at this time.
Councilor Cormier Ledger.
Nothing at this time.
Councilor Jones.
No, sir.
Councilor DeLarco. Okay, we'll move on to councilor comments. Councilor Chandler.
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, I'm glad you called me first, because I'm feeling very positive tonight.
I
Really,
like that.
It's a good vibe tonight, it really is. It is, it's very nice. So let's start with Councilor DeLuca. Thank you for that compromise tonight. I think that really made everyone come together, and that was great.
It's called teamwork.
That was teamwork.
It takes a teamster for that.
Takes- And I'll go with Councilor Jones, you did an excellent job your first meeting as chairman of the master plan.
Thank you, sir.
You really need a attaboy for that. And let's end with, remember last week Mary O'Neill came in with the kindness signs?
Yeah.
So I saw a bunch of those around town. That was nice. And I have to say something nice about Mary. Like, a lot of people might not know this, but for the longest time, she would drive around on 90-degree, 100-degree days and just give anyone in like public safety that was stuck outside directing traffic, couldn't get a water, she would bring you water. She'd come, bring you a cold water. I mean, it was great.
So nice.
I know, it's just, it was so great that she brought the kindness. Because that's her.
Yeah.
And I just wanted
That's
people to know that,
exactly
kind of
right.
unsung, like she would just do that out of the blue, you know? Especially in those 100-degree days. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Chandler. Councilor Frangillo.
Sure, thank you. We put all this effort into making sure that we have affordable housing in town, but then we have to go through the extra effort of actually connecting the people when we have those opportunities. There's currently, I believe, still an open opportunity on Palomino Drive, which is a wonderful neighborhood to live in. That's posted well on the Franklin's social media and online, but if you have any questions, feel free to reach out about that. That is still available.
It
at
is,
least
just
as
to
last
call the building, the community planning and development office, Maxine Kinhart's the contact. People should contact her.
Perfect, thank you. Pride celebrations this Sunday, 12 to 4 on the town common. Very excited about that. And then my third and final movie night of my first pilot series is on Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Everyone should be there. We'll have popcorn, we'll have soda. We're showing Little Women, which was filmed here in Franklin, partially. It'll be a good time. So if you want to stop by, 7 p.m., optional, $5 to join that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Frangillo. Councilor Pellegrini.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to first thank the food pantry. It was a wonderful celebration that we had there. And I'm so proud of all of the work that these people have done and transformed Edwards into this food pantry. It's just great. Franklin is very, very fortunate, very fortunate. Secondly, I have two very sad things. The Gates family, with the passing of Anthony Gates. I was there at the wake and then again at the funeral, and just to see all of those people that were there, the students and all, the way that they were in uniform and they just presented to the family, and I did get a chance to talk to the family, that they were just so honored. I had gone up early and the line was so long that I went home and I went back up again and it was still so long. So by the time I got up there, there was no one, you know, a couple of people. So I had a chance to talk to both of them. And not that I know them, my son went to college with the father and they played football together. So he was out, you know, too. So, and it was just a very, very sad time. And they were very thankful for all of the people that showed up. Secondly, Roger Rondo. Roger has been a part of this town for so, so long, and I don't mean just by age. He has been involved with so many committees and has turned it down now to his sons. We have John Rondo and Greg, the two of them that are on committees here in Franklin too. Roger was always so very proud of them, and it was just a very sad time for the Rondo, and Nasuti family was very well attended, and two great people passed on this past week, and I'm sure there were others that I just don't know about, and I'm sorry for that, but for these two people, we send our best to their families. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Pellegrini. Councilor Sheridan.
Yeah, I too would like to offer my condolences to those families, and I'd like to thank the people who worked on the organized Strawberry Festival, and the people who work on the 4th of July committee that looks like it's coming back strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Sheridan. Councilor Cormier Ledger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Certainly want to echo my condolences to the Gates family. This community's lost two young men in a very short span of time, tragically, and it is nice to see the community respond in such a loving and supportive way to those families during these very tough times. Also want to thank Mary for my lawn sign, so proudly telling everybody on Ashbury Drive that kindness matters, so they better slow down. I want to welcome Amy. We can finally stop hearing him complain. So, you know, really looking forward to you kind of easing a little bit of that conversation. Thank you to the Pride Committee for everything that they're doing for this weekend celebration, which is going to be great. And certainly thank you to the 4th of July Committee. As Councilor Sheridan said, that's gearing up. I'm looking forward to flipping grilled cheese sandwiches with my fellow Dems at their booth. So that's always fun. Let's see, I think we owe a gigantic thank you to all of the volunteers across the town for all of the year-end celebrations at the elementary schools, at the middle schools, at the high schools. I got to have a very small part in what was going on at Horace Mann, but just countless parent volunteers and lots and lots of great activities for those kids to end the year on a high note and to celebrate the teachers. So thank you to all of them. And just on a personal note, happy Gotcha Day to my son Charlie. He is with us 12 years today. So,
Awesome.
So thank you. Exciting day for us.
Councilor Hamlin.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair, I'd like to echo all the condolences to the Gates family and the Rondo family. It's definitely tough, yes. Also, the strawberry stroll was a lot of fun. Councilor Sheridan and I were there, and we talked zoning to people, and a lot of people came up to us and talked about what we got to talk about what we're doing and what we want to do, and it was really great. We were next to a booth that had face painting, so we had a long line in front of us, all the kids, all the parents were stuck in front of us, and they had to talk to us. So that was really great. Where we were placed was perfect. And just don't forget, the Franklin Farmers Market is ongoing right now on Fridays from 2 to 6 at the Common. It's going well, even though they've had some thunderstorms on Friday afternoons. There's great food, homemade ice cream this week, live music, SNAP is available for people who need it. And just remember, it's where community comes together. So there's a lot of stuff going on down there, and it's really a lot of fun. So, thank you.
Cousin's Lobster Truck.
Cousin Lobster Truck could be there because Attorney Sorrell requests it every week. And he wants them there earlier so he doesn't have to wait around after he gets out at 1 o'clock. Happy summer, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Hamblin. Councilor Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Of course, condolences to the Gates and the Rondo family. I mean, when I came across the report last week with of that accident, I shuddered. It's just the loss of a child is every parent's worst nightmare, and I feel so much for the Gates family. God bless them, and for their loss. On a different note, so much has already been said by so many councilors. I echo everyone's comments in regards to many of the happenings that are going on. I do want to mention also the Strawberry Stroll, how we were very fortunate that despite the rain that came in on Friday, they were able to move the event to the Saturday, which was only disturbed by approximately 15 to 20 minutes worth of rain at the beginning. But I swear to God, it was like once the rain went away, the whole place was flooded with people. And it was just an absolutely extraordinary turnout for such a wonderful event. It was so well received. I think that was a testament to so much hard work by the volunteers, the Downtown Partnership, and so many of the businesses that take part in that event. It just goes to show you that is a statement that the community is looking for more of these types of events, and that we definitely need to continue to try to provide that for our community. On a personal note, I want to thank everybody and anyone who made their part in making the Franklin Food Pantry come to fruition. It was a great, well-received event on June 12th at 8:30 in the morning over in front of the new Franklin Food Pantry, AKA Edwin's. The place came out great. It's such a testament to our community and all the hard work that people put into it. Other than that, Mr. Jones, congratulations on coming on board to the town of Franklin. Look forward to working with you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Jones. Councilor DeLarco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Obviously, condolences to both the families. I mean, Mr. Rondo was at our St. Anthony's meeting 3 weeks before he passed, so that goes to show you, who obviously wasn't that sick for that long, so that was good. But, it's, somebody told us, I think, Tommy, you were there with us this morning, that Anthony Gates and Nick Gasper are right next to each other in the yearbook. That's kind of eerie, but, I mean, to both those poor young families, I couldn't even imagine. But they followed me in Pop Warner. They were a little below me in Pop Warner, but I do remember them a little bit. It's just so sad. It's just unbelievable. But the community will come back. It always does, one day at a time. But outside of that, welcome, Amy. We'll probably have a lot of conversations, because I won't even call Jamie anymore.
July 3rd, you have to wait.
But, no, welcome aboard. Glad to have you.
After July 3rd, nobody's calling.
He's out.
Okay, obviously, I would offer my condolences to the Gates family and as well the Rondo family, and just piggyback on every on all the comments from my fellow councilors. Welcome, Amy, and applaud the efforts of the Franklin Food Pantry at Edwin's, as it's now called. And all of the volunteers and the downtown businesses during the Strawberry Stroll. They did a fantastic job. Love seeing all the people on Main Street. It's just a great sight to see, and it was just a great day for everybody. And hope we have great weather for the Pride celebration this weekend. So,
Ironically, it ended with a rainbow on the straw, on the
there you
stroke.
go. There you go.
Beautiful.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Non-debatable. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?